I am essentially a static, contemplative and objective person, almost a hermit in daily life, and always preferring to observe rather than participate. My only natural and genuine form of imagination is that of passive witnessing. The idea of being that sort of disembodied, floating eye which sees all manner of marvelous phenomena without being greatly affected by them. I should describe my own nature as tripartite, my interests consisting of three parallel and disassociated groups. A, love of the strange and the fantastic. B, love of the abstract truth and of scientific logic. C, love of the ancient and the permanent. Sundry combinations of these three strains will probably account for my odd tastes and eccentricities. I could never write about ordinary people, because I'm not in the least interested in them. And without interest, there can be no art. Man's relation to man does not captivate my fancy. It is man's relation to the cosmos, to the unknown, which alone arouses in me the spark of creative imagination. It was supposed to represent a fumbling human attempt to catch the phonetics of an absolutely non-human word. The name of the hellish entity was invented by beings whose vocal organs were not like man's. The syllables were determined by a physiological equipment wholly unlike ours, hence could never be uttered perfectly by human throats. The actual sound, as nearly as human organs could imitate it, could be taken something as when I was 6 or 7, I used to be tormented constantly by a peculiar form of recurrent nightmare in which a monstrous race of entities, called by me the Night Gaunts, I don't know where I got hold of that name, they used to snatch me up by the stomach, probably indigestion, and carry me off through infinite leagues of black air over the towers of dead and horrible cities. And they would finally get me into a grey void where I could see the needle-like pinnacles of enormous mountains miles below. The Night Gaunts were black, lean, rubbery things with horns and barbed tails, bat wings, and no faces at all. I have often wondered if the majority of mankind ever paused to reflect upon the occasionally titanic significance of dreams and the obscure world to which they belong. Whilst the greater number of our nocturnal visions are perhaps no more than faint and fantastic visions of our daily existence, there are still a certain remainder whose mundane and ethereal character permit no ordinary interpretation, and whose vaguely disquieting effect suggests possible minute glimpses into a sphere of mental existence no less important than that of physical life, yet separated from that life by an all but impassable barrier. It is now clear to me that any literary merit I have is confined to dream life, strange shadows, cosmic outsideness. I have no illusions concerning the precarious status of my tales and do not expect to become a serious competitor of my favorite weird authors, Poe, Arthur Machen, Dunsany. The only thing I can say in favor of my work is its sincerity. I refuse to follow the mechanical conventions of popular fiction, to fill my tales with stock characters and situations, but insist on reproducing real moods and impressions the best way I command. The result may be poor, but I'd rather keep aiming at serious literary expression than accept the artificial standards of cheap romance.